Now, I know that this is going to seem like an odd addition to the Resident Evil 2 series that we're doing, but I decided to include this battle with Mr. X, which I think is the 4th time that we've seen him up until this game, but the first time that I actually did a video on him, because of how they designed the arena. It is almost completely unskippable. This is nearly 100% required to actually continue with the game, just because the entire hallway into this room is completely narrow with no ability to actually get around Mr. X. Like the 3rd time that we see him on the library balcony, I'm sure that is technically possible, but it's so unlikely that your better bet is just to level all your ammo at him. It isn't even close to a cleverly designed combat system, because Capcom designed this guy more like a regular enemy and not a boss character, which is why he shows up in these awkward-ass arena-type things, in these tiny-ass hallways, and the fact that he's built 8 feet tall and feet wide, which means that you are not getting around him. His punches are heavy as granite bricks. His damage output is crazy, and everything about how he was designed to be combat-wise just shows that you should never, ever, ever, unless it's required in the set-piece terms, to be a required boss fight, because it's just not worth the hassle, because the best way to actually take him down is with the grenade launcher. But the problem is that your only reward for beating Mr. X is getting grenade launcher rounds, which means that you just recoup the loss that you had to do to fight Mr. X to basically get back to 0, so there literally is no reward for even bothering with Mr. X, and more likely, you'll just end up with a net loss of ammunition. And I know the reward for that is that Mr. X is temporarily gone from your vision, but you can get that just as easily by hoping that he throws a charged punch, which will allow you to get around his hitbox and basically leave the room, which in fact would give you a better net gain than actually standing up and fighting him. You are only going to get a 0 reward from beating Mr. X if you have a perfect run of shots and hit him on the mark every single time, which in a Capcom survival horror game is better said than done. I do like the Mr. X character. He obviously isn't as robust and as cool as Nemesis, but this was the Nemesis prototype, which means that we had to have this first before Nemesis, and Mr. X is a cool enough dude and a cool enough zombie that he just really stands up as his own, even though he is far more inferior than Nemesis later on in Resident Evil 3. Plus the whole bit with having to activate the security camera, or at least having the choice to, and then watching Mr. X saunter in and smash the security camera is just awesome pre-cutscene stuff that really ramps up the tension immediately, because of the knowledge of where you are and the dead end that you are now in. So while Mr. X obviously isn't perfect, and there is a couple of small dick moves from Capcom and how this fight was designed, I thought that the boss fight deserved enough credence to get a video unto itself, even though 5 minutes from now we are going to get a more legitimate boss fight with something else. And I can sure as shit guarantee myself that you already know what that something else is, but we'll wait until tomorrow on Sunday before you can see what we're actually getting on that end. Mr. X is a cool zombie, I'll say that at the very least.